Hey there. I would like to take some time and introduce you to the MetaTrader4 trading platform. I want to show you some of the basics that MetaTrader4 can do. It's a great trading platform. It's free. It's the one that we use with the Forex Income Boss trading system. And if you have a broker in mind, you can go to your broker's website and download it from there. They are going to have one available for you. If you do not have a broker in mind and you do not have an MT4 platform, I'm going to show you exactly where to get it. So we're going to start with our website. We're going to go to the MetaTrader4.com website. Please bear with me, MetaTrader4.com. And this is the MetaTrader4 website, and this big orange button, free download. You click this and it's going to download an MT4 setup.exe file. We'll save that onto my desktop. And then from there, we're going to have the MT4 setup file. So I'm going to double click this just to get it started. MetaTrader4 client terminal. Welcome to MetaTrader4 setup. So next, yes, I agree. Next. I don't want to launch the MQL5, but I do want it to create a desktop shortcut, and I do want to launch the program. This is where it's going to save it on your computer, the program files x86 MetaTrader4. So next, this green line has loaded, so we've got finish, and it is as simple as that. It is going to launch the MetaTrader4 platform. So this is what we're going to get when we've launched the platform. It'll launch itself automatically, and this is what pops up. Now we have a default sort of setting here. This is what you're going to be presented with, several charts and some open windows and an open an account option here. What I want to do is I'm going to close this down just so I can show you the process here. I'm not going to open an account just yet. I will cancel that. So I'll go to File in the upper left-hand corner, Open an Account, and that window will pop up. Now we've got some servers here. We've got a couple of different servers. So I'm going to click the first one and click Next. And then it's going to ask me for some information. Now this is a brand new demo account, and that's what you want, is a demo account. So new demo account is already clicked. So I'm going to click Next, and then you'll have this window that you'll want to fill out. After you filled out the window, I agree, and then click Next. And now you are given a login and a password and an investor password. The login and the password speaks for itself. That's how you're going to get into the platform. An investor password is something you can give to somebody else. You'll give them the login and the investor. So if you're trading, they can see what you're doing without being able to manipulate anything. Write this information down if you like, put it somewhere safe, click Finish. And now we have got a set of fully functional, you heard the bling, that's the data feed coming into the chart. You've got a fully functional
incoming mail
set of default charts, and that incoming mail, that's all part of the process. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to close everything, and we're going to start from scratch with this. Now we've got other windows open here. Now you can choose to use the little X to close the window, or you have some depressed buttons, and we can undepress them by clicking them, and that will turn off or on some of these different panes. Now they're for different reasons. We use them for different things, and I'll show them to you. Right now, you have got a blank slate. You're going to start from scratch. We're going to get some charts. We're going to put some indicators on it. I'm going to show you some windows and some very basic stuff, what you can do with your charts, and so on. What you've got in front of you is a blank slate. There's no charts, there's no windows, there's no panes, there's nothing on your platform. This is as empty as it's going to get. We're going to start by applying some charts. Now they're going to be just naked charts. There's not going to be any indicators or anything like that on them, and we will get to that. But first, I'm going to choose this add chart. So we have this add chart, this new chart button. And from there, I can pick a currency pair. We've got the Euro USD, US Japanese Yen, and we have a variety of other pairs. And I'm going to show you something else here really soon. So I'm going to pick one, Pound US Dollar. And this is the default chart. It's the black chart with the white grid on it. The candles themselves aren't candles, it's a bar chart. And I'm going to zoom in using the magnifying glass. Click, click, and it'll zoom in to the different chart. From here, I want to set up candlestick charts. Those are the charts that I know. And we have those options across the top. This is the current bar chart. We can choose a candlestick chart, or we can choose a line chart. I like the candlestick chart. The default time frame is the 1 hour. And again, you can change that simply by clicking the different time frames. So this is the 1 week, the 1 month, the 1 day, 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, 5 minute, and the 1 minute. I'm going to choose the 15 minute. So we've got the 15 minute bar chart. I can add a second chart, Euro USD, for example. So now I've got two charts. And at the bottom here, you're going to see two different tabs. I've got the Euro USD tab, which is what we're looking at right now, and the Pound USD tab. So I can switch from chart to chart by clicking on the different tabs. Now, if I double click on a tab, I can minimize the charts a little bit. I can make them smaller so that they fit inside the window. Now, I generally like to have them full screen, and I'll do that again by double clicking on the tab, and that makes them full screen. And as I add different currency pairs, I will generally be scrolling through the different tabs at the bottom. This is your market watch window. I'm going to click that and it's going to open the window. There's a couple of different things about this window. Is we have the time of your broker. My current time, I can't see it on the video, my current time is 12:45 a.m. So it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning for me. But my broker's time is 6:45 in the morning. The broker's time and your time are generally not going to be the same. This is something you cannot adjust, unfortunately. MetaTrader4 does not give you the option to adjust the time on the charts. I think every trader would like that option to be present, but it just isn't. This Market Watch window is the only place you're going to find your broker's time. Now we have on here several different charts or different currency pairs. When you have an open chart, this is the Pound US Dollar. I can drag a currency pair onto the chart and it will change it. This is the US dollar Swiss franc now. Now, if I double click and I have some blank space, I can drag the currency pair onto the blank space and it will add another chart. Now, I can do this a couple of different times, as many times as I want. The broker is going to have several different currency pairs, more than what you see. Here we only have a very limited number of currency pairs. Now, if you're looking for one that's not on here, chances are that the broker has it. They will have the data feed for it, but it's just not listed. What you'll want to do is anywhere on here, just right click and you'll see show all. You click show all and it is now going to add all of the different currency pairs, plus depending on your broker, this one has got different stocks as well. You might have all kinds of extra stuff, but you'll have lots of different currency pairs. We can create the window, big, small. So we have the different currency pairs, add them if you like. The easiest way to do it is to just drag and drop them onto a blank spot on your platform here. Once you're done with that, click the little X to get rid of it, or click the Market Watch window, gets rid of it. Double click on one of the tabs, it'll full screen your charts, and then you can scroll through the different charts that you have. Now, another thing you can do is you can reorder the charts simply by dragging the tabs and putting them wherever you like. You can modify your charts. These are the default charts with the default colors, but they don't have to stay that way. You can take the grid off. You can put the grid on. You can change the color of the candles. You can increase the size. I'm going to magnify them a bit, unmagnify them, demagnify them, make them smaller. I can right click on not a candle, but just a blank spot on the chart. Let's do that so this shows up. And then at the bottom, we have properties. Properties window will pop up. And first thing you're going to notice, the first tab is colors. The background color is black. The foreground is white. The foreground is going to be the numbers and so on the side. The grid, that's the grid that you see, the squares in the back. Bar up. Now this is going to be interesting. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can see this better. So I'm going to zoom in. All right, so we'll do that again. Properties. Bar up is going to be a bull candle outline and the wicks. So if I change this to Dodger blue, you can see how in this preview window, how the candles are changing. All right, the bar down again is the outline of the bar and the wicks. So let's make that one red. The bull candle, that's the fill. So I'm going to make that one Dodger blue as well. And you can see how as I'm making the changes, this preview window makes the changes as well. Bear candle, I will make that red. And we can see how that works. Line graph, volumes, ask line, stop levels. I don't need to change anything else. I'm good. I'll click OK. And it'll modify the candles. Now, we have more things we can do. I'm going to go back, right click on the chart, click properties. We have common. Now, generally, what we're going to do for the common is click off show grid. Now we have other options. You can do this from different places. You can turn the grid off by doing this, and the grid is off. The grid color is going to be this bid price line. This is where the price is right now. And it is going to move up and down as the price on the chart moves up and down. We have a couple of different buttons here that I want to show you. We've got the chart shift, and what that'll do if I click it, it's going to move the chart over a little bit. There's a chart shift line here, and I can drag this. There we go. I can drag this over into the middle of the chart or anywhere in the right-hand side. And if I click that off, it'll go to the right-hand side. If I click it on, it'll move to where this chart shift is. This is the auto scroll. I turn it off if I want to look back in history, and I'm just clicking and dragging the chart. Now, the auto scroll, if it's turned on, as soon as there's a pip movement, as soon as the market makes a little movement, it'll pop back to where the auto scroll is, or where the chart shift is, sorry. So I've tried to move, and it just keeps popping back again. So if you want to look at something in the past, without it popping back all the time, you turn that off, and then you're free to move it. As you notice, as I'm moving the chart fills up the window. There'll be one spot that has a high and one spot that has a low, and it'll always maintain that. You've got the high and the low, and they'll always be in the same areas. And as the price narrows, the chart will widen to accommodate that. Go back to the front. We have some tools that we can use. Now we have a couple of drawing tools. The trend line is a drawing tool that I use a lot. I will use this diagonal tool here. This is my trend line tool. And I can click and drag, and I can create a trend line. And then I can let go of the trend line. And this will be my trend line. It's an angled line. Now, you may not like the trend line to keep going on forever and ever, and that's what it does. So I'm going to double click on the trend line, and what you see are these little squares that pop up. These are called nodes. This means the trend line is selected. So what I can do is on the trend line, I will right click, and then I'll get trend line properties. Click that. And then from parameters, this is the ray button. I can turn that off. And if I hit OK, we can see it goes from where you started to where you ended. If the ray is on, it will just project itself for eternity. A lot of traders don't want that. I don't want that. So I'm going to have the ray button off. Again, I'm going to double click, to deselect it. And now it's locked in place. I can't manipulate that trend line anymore. If I double click again to select it, I can take either end and I can move the end as such. If I grab the middle, the whole trend line will move. If I right click it while it's selected, trend line properties, I can alter the trend line color and size. So I can change the color to, let's go lime green, and then I can make it much thicker. And I'll hit OK. So I can make a thicker trend line properties. If you use the thinnest line, you have a couple of different styles. So you can use a dash or a dot dash or a dash dot dot and apply that. Double click, unselects, and it's locked in place. Next one is a horizontal line. I can click and drag on the chart, and this is great for support and resistance levels. Once I let go, it's locked in place and I can't do anything with it. I can double click anywhere on that line and it will select it, and you'll see the nodes, they pop up in either corner on either side. And from there, I can move it around. Once I have it in place, double click, it locks it in place. And the same thing with this. Right click after you've selected it, horizontal line properties. I can change the color. I can change the thickness. If you make it thicker than that thinnest line, it's going to be a solid line. You can't make a thick dot or a thick dashed line. Now that is selected, I can choose the parameters. I can give it an actual price. So if I wanted to go to 26300, I can do that by putting in the values, and I'll hit OK. And it will move it to that exact price. It's still selected, double click to deselect, and there she goes. Now the same thing with the vertical line. All right, select, double click to select, vertical line properties. Same thing, I can give it a certain time and date. I can give it a color and a thickness. All right, now I can select everything. And I can right click to delete just the one thing. Or if they're all selected and I hit delete on my keyboard, everything gets deleted. The next thing I'd like to show you is the crosshair. And it's right next to the cursor. If you're on the cursor, you can move back and forth. The crosshair, this is a cool tool. It is a click and drag kind of tool. And what it does is it can show you 3 different pieces of information. Well, first of all, it shows you vertical and horizontal lines. So you can get an idea of support and resistance levels or whatever the case is. But if you click and drag, there are sets of numbers that pop up right next to it. So if I do this, what I'm looking at is the first number next to the crosshair now is 6. So from where I initially clicked it to where I dragged it, it's 6 candles. So if I can move it over a little bit, 7 candles, 8 candles, 9, 10, 11 candles. The next number, 45.3, 453. That's 45.3 pips. So where I started, where I clicked and dragged, I'm 45.3 pips away. And notice if I go up, 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 that number gets smaller and smaller, and then it'll start to increase as I go above. So we're looking at 46 pips away from that initial crosshair. And then finally, the last number, 1.28232, where the crosshair is right now, where the actual crosshair, that's the price. So that's the price on the chart. So if I click, I can see how far this range was. For example, from the top to the bottom is 118.8 pips, and that was 10 candles. And at the bottom, I'm looking at 1.24957. That's the price. You can use this tool for all kinds of things. I like to use it to determine my stop loss levels. If I've got an entry and I want a stop loss to go underneath the swing low, I can, that's the wrong indicator. Need the crosshair. I can determine that if my stop loss is going under here, that it's 77 pips away. I use this tool all the time. And generally, that's what I use it for. All right, the crosshair comes in handy. It's great. And if you have a scrolly mouse, one with a scrolly wheel, if you scroll backwards, the chart goes backwards. If you scroll forwards, the chart goes forwards. If you press your scrolly wheel, not every mouse has the pressable wheel, but if you do, it'll launch the crosshairs. So if I go click, there we go. I don't have to actually click on the crosshair icon. Click, and there it goes. What I want to show you now is how to apply an indicator to your chart. There are 3 ways to get to the indicator window. The most common way is through the actual indicator button. That's what this green plus is on this side. This is a new chart. This is at an indicator. So if I click the indicator button, I'm going to see the first few. These are in alphabetical order, but these are the most recently added indicators once you start adding them. Because you haven't added any yet, what's here is just in alphabetical order. Now, if I want to add a moving average, I will mouse over trend, and then I will go over and mouse over moving average and go click. And now I get the properties box for the moving average, and I can choose what kind of moving average I want. I have a 14 period. Let's make it an exponential, apply to the close. I'm going to make it lime green. I want it a little bit thicker. All right, you can apply it to different things, the open, the high, the low, the median price, typical price, weighted close. Generally, we're applying it to the close. You can shift it forward if you like, or even backwards using this. Very rarely our moving average is shifted. You may or may not like to do that. Again, if you have the thinnest line, you can choose dot, dash, whatever the case is. So I'm going to go OK. And I can add a moving average to my charts. Now I can double click on the moving average. When I put my mouse over it, that little box pops up, tells me what it is. I can double click on it and the properties box will pop up. And from there, I can do the same thing that I wanted to do. I can change the parameters. I can change the, say I want to go for 35 moving average. And I can do that. I can change that. And then I can add another one. Now, if I go back to the indicators, you'll see moving average is now at the very top because it was the one that I had just recently added. If I click this, I can add a new one, but it'll show me what the last settings were of the previous one. So if I want to change that, I want to go 55 and I'll make a blue one. Hit OK. And then I can add several moving averages. If I don't like one, I can right click on it and then delete indicator. Now I'm going to show you this. Double clicking opens the properties box. Right clicking gives me the properties, opens the properties box. So I'm just going to delete this one, delete indicator. Now I'm going to show you a different way to get to it. We can go insert indicators, and we get to that same window. This time, I'm going to add an oscillator. So we go relative strength index, RSI. Again, we can change what we want. RSI. Some indicators, this is an oscillating indicator. It has its own window, and it moves up and down within that window. If I double click on the line, opens up the properties. Levels, I can add different levels. This one comes with a default 30 and 70 level. I can add a 50 level, which is very common. I can remove certain levels. Say I only want the 50 level. And this is what you get. Then you can modify it, make the line thicker, however you want. I want to get rid of it. I can adjust the pane as well. I can grab the pane, the top of the pane, and move it narrower, wider, or just simply get rid of it. So I can delete the indicator. Now, what I'm going to do is right click on the chart and it'll show me indicators list. And these are the indicators I have on the chart. And if I have a lot of indicators, there'll be a lot of them there. So I can choose relative strength index and I can edit it from there. The properties box will pop up, or I can delete it. And then it'll delete once I hit close. Close the box and indicators are gone. So I can modify, add, and remove indicators this way. Now there's one other way to add indicators. I said there was 3 ways, so we'll do that. This is the navigator window. And through the navigator window, I have access to my accounts, and I have access to indicators, expert advisors, and scripts. So in the indicators, I'll click on the little plus. It opens up the different indicators. Now, if I want to add an indicator to a chart from here, I just drag and drop it onto the chart. I go trend. Maybe I will add a parabolic SAR. So I'm going to drag and drop that onto the chart. The properties box will pop up. Hit OK. And I have my indicator on the chart. And I can get rid of this navigator window by either clicking on the navigator tab or the little X. And there she be, your indicators. You know how to get them on your chart and off your chart. If you're going to install an indicator, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that right now, actually. I'm going to show you how to install an indicator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this over just a little bit. We can see I've got indicators. They're EX4 files. You might come across indicators that are MQ4 files. The same thing. If you install an MQ4 file onto your charts, it's going to automatically convert them into EX4 files. So all we really need are the EX4 files. The way to install an indicator manually, because you're going to come across indicators that you'd like to try, and whatever the case is, and MT4 is really good for this. There are thousands and thousands of indicators that are custom made. And if you have any knowledge of programming, you can maybe make your own. How we add an indicator to our charts is we have to have the chart open to begin with. And then we're going to click File, and then we're going to open Data Folder. And what this is going to do is show us a data folder. This is the data folder for this particular set of charts. If you have different charts, different brokers, your data folder is going to be located in a different place. This is the location of this particular set of charts. It's a huge file name. I'm going to just scoot this over so that we can see kind of everything we need. I have a template, an FIB template that I'm going to install. And you can tell it's a template because it's fib.tpl. That's a template file. Once I've opened that data folder, I have a series of file folders inside that. Now my templates is going to go into my templates file folder, and I can either open that up and drag it into it, or I can just simply drag it into the file folder. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to drag it and drop it into that templates file folder. And I'll show you what we're going to do with that. But if we want to install an indicator, we need to go one level deeper. MQL4. We're going to open up that one. MQL4. And you're going to find inside there, there's an indicators file folder. All of the indicators that you want to install will go into that indicators file folder. If I open it up, you can see what we've got. There's no FIB anything in here. Be in here, and there isn't anything. So what we're going to do is I could drop it in that window or drop it right into the file folder. I'm going to do that. I'm going to select them all, and I'm just going to drag and drop them into that file folder. So if I open that up, there's all the FIB indicators. Awesome. Now that I've got that, I don't need that window anymore. I'm going to close the window. I have a chart with new indicators, but I won't be able to access them. Indicators, custom, they're going to be in this custom area right here, but I don't see them. There's no FIB anything. When you install indicators onto your charts, you have to shut the platform down and restart it. All right, so we're going to do that. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to close the platform. All right, it's closed. I am going to open the platform. Now it's open. All right. It was closed. It's open. Now when I go to the indicators file folder and go over custom, we see all the FIB indicators. So if you install an indicator, you have to shut the platform down and then start it up again. And another little tip about indicators, if you've installed an indicator and it doesn't show up even after you've done this, there's a very strong chance that there's a problem in the code. When I've programmed an indicator and I had something missing somewhere and there was just an invalidation in the code somewhere, it doesn't appear. It doesn't load. You can't use it. So it doesn't even show up. That makes me aware that there's probably a problem with the code. I go back, I fix the code, and then it installs and it shows up for me. So from here, I'm going to add a couple of those FIB indicators. I'm not going to add them all, just a few. So I'm going to go to custom FIB. I'm going to do the FIB bands. I can click it and the property box will pop up, and then I can adjust the colors and so on. All right. So I've got the DC bands. I'm going to add another one. I'm going to add the custom. I'm going to add my momentum modulator. Again, the property box pops up. Hit OK, momentum modulator. And one more. I'm going to add the DMP. So we'll go custom FIB DMP. Okay, this is the system as I like it. It's not complete, but it's just for the sake of demonstration. If I'm going to trade this on several different charts, now this is on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. You can see here on the tab that's been selected. I don't want to trade only the US dollar, Canadian dollar. I can trade different currencies, different currency pairs. I don't want to have to apply each of those indicators every single time. So what I want to do is I want to save this as a template that I can apply to each new chart that I open. And I'll do this with this tab right here. This is my templates tab. So I'm going to save the template. Now, remember, we added an FIB template, and that's what this FIB is. But let's say this is a modified version and I want to save it specifically. So I'll go save template. And then from there, I might call it FIB mod. So this is my modified FIB. So I'll click save. And now when I go into it, I'll see there's an FIB mod. So with the next chart, this US dollar, Canadian dollar, if I apply the FIB mod, it'll make every single change that I had made previously. It'll get rid of the grid. It'll change the size of the candles. It'll change the colors of the candles. It'll apply the indicators. It'll make a carbon copy of that other template, of that other chart, only applied to this particular currency pair. So I can do that euro franc, and I can do that again. I can apply a template just like that. So we can open a chart, US dollar, Japanese yen, and then I can apply a template, and that's good to go. Now, if you have a template that you want, the FIB, for example, if I want to apply the FIB, this is the FIB complete. This is the way it looks. Now, if I have, and I do sometimes have up to 25 different chart windows open, I don't want to spend the time dragging all the different charts and then applying all the different indicators. That's a long time, like applying a template to every single one of the charts. There's a trick to this. And what you can do is, now I've got a chart with a template just the way I like it. I like how it looks. I like the way it is. What I'll do is I will save this template, but I'm going to call it default. I'm going to name it default. All right. So if I go save now, the FIB template is this one, but the default template is this one. So what I'll do, now I'm going to minimize some of these just so that we can see how this works. Minimize, 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 minimize. So now I've got a blank chart. If I open a new one, let's go the Australian dollar, US dollar, click, it will automatically apply that template automatically, just because it's named default. It knows that it's going to take the default template and apply it to a brand new chart. So every new chart that you open is going to have this template applied to it. Little shortcut, a little trick to make your life easier. So let's get into some orders. Now, I got caught this one time. I got caught up with this. It was bad. I placed an order and I an entry order. I got into a trade and I didn't know how to get out of it. It's not as obvious as you might hope it would be. Getting into a trade, easy. One of the easiest things in the world here. We have, what is this? This is the Euro Yen 1 hour, let's say. Now, this is just for the sake of example that I want to sell. I'm going to click New Order. A window is going to pop up, and then I can choose to sell or buy. This gives me the lot size. This volume is what this is, but it's the lot size. This is what kind of lots. Am I trading one lot? Sure, I'm to trade one lot. So I'm going to, and you can change this. And you can change it to anything you want. I can go 2.56 lots. So I am going to buy. Well, let's go sell. Okay, I'm in the market. Successful. Great. This dotted line, this dash dot line tells you here, I've sold at 2.56 lots and I'm in the trade. So now if the price goes down, I'm going to make some money. If the price goes up, I'm going to lose some money. Straightforward, very simple. MetaTrader used to be a lot more complicated. You could not just get out of a trade. Now there's a couple of ways to do this. You can get out of the trade fairly easily now. Wasn't the case before. But before we even get out of the trade, let's modify this. We're going to add a stop loss and a take profit. And we're going to do this really, really quick, really, really easy way. This is a fairly new addition to the MT4. I am going to, you see the little up and down arrow when I place my cursor on this entry level? I can drag that entry level up or down, and it will determine whether it's a take profit or a stop loss. Now I'm selling, so I want the price to go down. So my stop loss would be above, my take profit would be in front or below. So drag to modify. So if I drag up, that is my stop loss. And it's going to tell me right here how many pips my stop loss is, how far away from that entry. So let's say I want a 50 pip stop loss, and this is what I would do. This is the easy way, easy, fast. All right, you only have to do this disclaimer thing one time. I accept the terms. Okay, now let's do that again. Stop loss above is 46.6 pips. Let go, bang, it's done. I don't know if you heard the whoosh noise. Now I can do the same thing with the take profit. Drag it down this time, and it tells you again here how many pips you are. So I'm going for a level of support. So I've got my stop loss, I've got my take profit. I can modify my stop loss, I can modify my take profit simply by dragging it wherever I want to. I can drag it up, down, I can modify my stop loss as easy as that. Simple, simple. If I want to get out of the trade, now, if I just want to close it, I can right click on the entry line. And then from there, I can choose to close the trade. I can add a trailing stop. Let's go over it this way so you can see the trailing stop. I can add a trailing stop, or I can modify the trade. If I modify the trade, I can add a stop loss level, take profit level. So if I change this to 45, it's okay. I can click modify, and it will adjust the stop loss level. It never used to be this easy. You used to have to do it through a different window. Now, there is the trade terminal. This is the terminal window icon. I'm going to click this, and we're going to see some different things. I can stretch this up a little bit so we can see better. There's a couple of different things you want to really be aware of, and that is your trade, and that is the current trade that we're in right now. That's this one here. I can click on it, and then I can alter it from here. I can go stop loss, take profit, double click, and it opens up that same window. Same thing with the take profit. You can access the stop loss and the take profit from that window. Right click, I can modify or delete. If I want to modify order, I can do that. If I want to see the trades, let's get out of this trade. I'm going to close this trade. So I'll go right click, and this is used to be how you have to do it. Right click on the trade you want to close. If I've got several trades going, I would choose the one that I want. and then close order. All right, now in the account history, it's going to show me the closed trades. The trades that are open will not be in the account history, only the closed trades will. It'll show me the entry price, the stop loss, the take profit, and all of the different information here, and my gain. I'd have to open up a trade, so let's do that. We'll open up a trade. We'll go new order. Let's sell again. We're selling against the grain here. So while this is open, we can open the terminal and we can see in the trade the active trade. This is how much we're up and how much we're down. And as the price is in profit, we'll be positive. As it's negative, we'll have negative. From here, there is a profit here. And then we can choose as points or as the currency. The deposit currency, for me, it's the US dollar. My accounts are in US dollars. Sometimes you want to see the points. And what that does is it shows you how many pips. So right now, this is a 5-digit broker. So I'm fractionally up. Like it's not a whole pip. This is 0.5 of a pip right now. So it shows you how many pips up and down you are. Go to profit, deposit currency, shows me the dollar amount that I am up or down. Account history, this is the one trade we closed. See, the other trade is not present. It is under the trade. So this is the trade terminal or the terminal window. And I can close that again and never pay attention to it. I don't like to pay attention to it when I'm in a trade, but it is handy to see from time to time. I'm going to close the trade, and I will do that by hitting close. And the trade has been exited. If I go back into the terminal and look at the account history, there is one trade for $2.14 and another trade for minus $1.94. And it gives me a running total, profit loss. So I've had the $5,000 demo account, and over the 2 trades I've taken, I've lost a total of $192.60. Let's take a look at across the top. We've got all these little buttons and things, and they are adjustable. They come in their own kind of mini panes. We have the different time frames. So we've got the monthly, the weekly, daily, and so on. And we can move it. We can actually grab the pane and move it around. Now, being a new platform, it is auto clicking into the thing. Generally, I have been able to slide it over. I'm not being able to do that apparently right now. In this one, we have all kinds of tools, and there's not a lot available. What you can do is anywhere on here is right click and then go customize. And it'll show you what tools you can add or take away. If I've got the vertical line, the horizontal line, the trend line, I like those, but I don't need the equidistant channel on there. So what I can do is click on it and then remove. And what it does is it takes it off of there, and you saw it just disappear, and it puts it into indicators, the available tools. And I can choose, let's say I like the rectangle tool, and I do use it. So I'll go insert, and maybe I like the ellipse tool. I can double click it and it'll show up. And then once I've got that, and maybe I want to reorganize it. I want the Fibonacci tool above. All right. And as I'm doing this, it reorganizes it in here. And then I'm good, so I can close it. And I can do that with any of these. I go customize. It shows me what I can do and what I can add and what I can take away and what I can move around. So you might want to check that out and see sort of what extra are available. Now, there is one other feature that I'd like to show you, and that's the F12. It's going to come in handy if you are doing some forward testing. When you are looking at a chart, I'll look at 4 hours. You're looking at a chart and you use the arrow keys. I'm going to push the arrow keys on my keyboard. I'm going to go to the right. This is my right arrow key. Click. You see what happens is 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. The arrow keys move the charts 4 candles at a time. Now, if you are back testing and you want to see one candle at a time, that arrow key is useless. You don't want to see 4 candles. You want to see one candle. What you'll do is you press F12. And if you do F12, which is what I'm doing now, you're going to see one candle at a time. Let's get that out of there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see how a trade progresses in real time using the F12. Now, there's lots of different features. There are more to it than this. And if you're interested, there's information all over the place. What I wanted to do with this very basic tutorial was to show you how to get around. And after this, it is going to be quite simple for you to kind of run with it. You can do a little bit more with it. What I should show you is another indicator. This is the TRS. Now, it's not the indicator so much, but there's going to be times where you have an indicator on your chart that you just can't modify. You can't double click and have a properties box. And this is it. This is one of them. What it's doing is it's printing text. And if I click it, double click it, all it does is select the text. I can't modify it. So what I'll do is this, I know it's the TRS. I'll right click on the chart. Then I'll go to indicators list. And then from there, I will find the TRS, select it, or I can double click it and then click edit. And then pops up the TRS. And then from there, I can choose to turn on the alert. So every time a candle ends or starts, every time a candle starts, it'll go bing. I can change the color. I can change the location. But the only way to get to that is through that indicators list. So let me do that again. Just right click on the chart. Doesn't matter where. You'll find indicators list, or Control I will open up that indicators list. And then you've got access to all the different indicators and you can manipulate them. The TRS, that's one you have to get through here. Click, edit, do what you got to do, click OK, and it's done. The other indicators, you can double click and the properties box pops up. All the other indicators, you can do that. The TRS, and you're going to come across others where you have to get to it that way through the indicators list. I think another feature that is going to come in handy if you are in the members area, and I'm going to assume you are, you're going to want to post a chart from time to time. The best way to do that is get the chart that you want, draw some lines, you pointing to where you need, trendline properties, thicken it up. I can draw some text with the A. This is my text tool. I'll click, and then this is the name of the text. Actually, what you're going to write is in the text. So I can go, this is cool. And then I can change the color and the font and the point size. Say I want a 24 point size. I'd like to make it a white color. Arial's fine. Okay. This is cool. I can double click. Again, the node pops up. I can move it anywhere I want. Double click, deselects it, and it locks it in place. I can choose some arrows. I can do an arrow up or an arrow down. Let's say I go an arrow up, click, it's a little tiny red one, double click, selects it, right click, arrow properties. If I thicken the line, it'll make the arrow bigger. Then I can make it a different color. Move it where I want. Oops, hang on. Move the arrow where I want to move it. Double click, locks it in place. Now I've got my description. I've got some text. I can save this image. So what I'll do is from here, I can go to File and then Save as Picture. When I save as picture, I will choose the active chart as is. You can go active chart and save it to a specific size. I like the active chart as is. What it does is it doesn't mess with anything. There's no squishing. There's no resizing or shaping. I don't want to post the image online to the MQL5 chart. So I'm going to make sure that I unselect that. Active chart as is. I'll hit OK. It will give me a title here. Now I'm going to save this to my desktop. I'm not going to save it directly to the file that it chooses. I'm going to save it to my desktop. This is the Euro Pound H4 test. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to click save. And the window pops open. I think you can see this. Yes, it's the, this is my photo viewer. And this is the image. This is the actual image that you can post into a forum or whatever you want with. It's clean, it's crystal clear, and it is exactly what we want to see when we're looking in the forum. So this is the photo viewer. This is an actual photograph of this chart. So you've got the chart, you've got the photo, they're identical. Exactly. This is how you would do it. And then you post the image in the forum and we can see what's going on. So that is how you would save an image from MetaTrader. So MetaTrader is really a very powerful tool. And I haven't shown you everything. I'm showing you, again, enough just to kind of get you by. And this video is huge, and I've shown you a lot. Maybe there's one more thing that I should show you. And what that is going to be the tiling feature. You can choose to tile the windows how you want. Now I can go here, window, and tile windows, and I can choose different ways to do it. I can tile the windows vertically, the way they are. Now, let's just get rid of these. Now, what I'm doing is if I minimize the windows, they won't tile. If I have open windows, I've got 2 of them, I can click tile, and it'll fit them in the space, in the workspace. Now, let's say I open up a 3rd one, right? And I'm going to tile all 3 of those. So I've got 3 windows open now, and I can choose to tile them in different ways. If I go window, I can tile them horizontally. Now, I don't know why you'd want to do this, but the option is there for that. So tile vertically, and I will do this if I am watching a few charts. So I can have 2 or 3 charts on simultaneously and be watching them at the same time. And not being distracted by everything else or having to scroll through 15 charts. I mean, I do that too. If I'm looking at a whole bunch of charts and I'm going through the bottoms, click, 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 and I'm scrolling through them. But if there's 3 or 4 charts that I want, and if you're trading a small time frame, that'd be the way to go, is tile the charts you're looking at and do it this way. Makes life a lot easier. And that's why the TRS is very small. I made it as small as I could, so that I can have it on every chart and still be present. That's why it's in the corner it's in. That's why it's as small as it is. So we've got, I think that about covers it. We've got indicators, templates, how to apply a template, how to create one, where to get the indicators from, where to put the indicators when you have a new one, where a template goes, orders, getting in and out, modifying it, and so on. So I think we're good. Again, if you've got any questions and you're in the members area, you post in the forum. We're going to make sure that we help you every step of the way. Thanks for watching this MT4 tutorial video, and I'm going to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.